everybody, and welcome to the very first Spaz Phoenix Wrestling Q&A. I've been dragging my ass as far as doing this, because I said I was going to do this once I hit 50 subs, and I am now currently, and thankfully, sitting at 65. That's a big difference from 50, and I'm sorry for that. But I've got a small handful of questions here. I'm going to go for it, and we will have lots and lots of fun. From now on, it's just going to be a running thing. If you guys have questions for my next Q&A, just toss it in the moderator or in my inbox or whatever, and every time I get a good handful like I've got here, I will pop up another one. It's not going to be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, anything like that. It's going to be whenever I get some. So yeah, I'm not really surprised by the people that did respond and did send me questions. Most of them are people that I converse with on a regular basis and have helped me in one way or another plug this channel. So thank yous to all of you that have helped me. Thank you to the people that have sent me some questions. And here we go. The first 3 questions are from Tom, Kid of Wrestling, who busts his ass on YouTube a lot more than I do. Has not only Kid of Wrestling, but also the KOW Show. 2 channels that you guys definitely need to check out, and it will be in the description at the bottom if you don't already know. What do you think about CM Punk currently? I think right now, with all the other crap and all the other things that we can criticize the WWE about, we couldn't ask for anything more than what we have from CM Punk right now. We have somebody who's pushing the limits of PG, which is awesome. We have somebody that's breaking the boundary of, you know, superstars in the main event and actually getting somebody in there that can actually put on a convincing, you know, psychological match, which is awesome. And we've got somebody polar opposite of John Cena, which is great. You've got a guy that can get it done in the ring, you got a guy that can get it done on the mic, and you've got a guy who's by no means average, but to physically look at him, he looks more like a regular Joe guy rather than Cena, who's pumped up beyond belief and kind of looks like a cartoon character, kind of looks like he's been pulled right out of an action movie, which is not so great. So there's a realism to CM Punk that I like. The realism has always been there. This slow, like, pulling him out of the forced heel roles like he had with the SES, like he had with the new Nexus, which was an anchor around his neck, and I'm glad they got rid of that, into this sort of Austin sort of pseudo-face thing that he's doing now is completely tremendous, because it suits him. He's not a bad guy. He's not dedicated to anything bad, but he's by no means a good guy like John Cena is either. It's the perfect storm of everything he does right and everything that we don't like about the WWE right now that's reflected in him. Now, next question. And I have to tell you guys a little story before I get to the next question. But the next question is, what do you think of Cody Rhodes being the Intercontinental Champion? Now, Tom, I should be mad at you, but I'm not. SmackDown is on Friday. I've always had a problem with that. People that have seen my videos before know that I don't think SmackDown should have ever been moved off of Thursday nights. I mean, for one thing, they'd be running TNA out of business if they were still on Thursdays. For another thing, most people have lives on Friday nights, like me. If anything, I go and do whatever I'm doing on Friday night, and then I'll pop up YouTube on my phone on the bus on the way home and watch SmackDown on the bus on the way home from doing something like that, which is what I did the night that Cody Rhodes beat Ezekiel Jackson for the Intercontinental Championship. But that wasn't until about midnight that I got to watch that show. Now, I guess Tom was watching the show when it was actually happening and popping up the question then, but I hadn't seen it yet. So, spoiler for the fail, and I went into SmackDown already knowing that Cody Rhodes was going to beat Ezekiel Jackson, so that kind of sucked. But, Tom, you're a good guy. I'm not mad at you. I just thought I'd share a laugh with you here while I've got the forum. What do I think about Cody Rhodes being the Intercontinental Champion? It's better than Ezekiel Jackson, I'll tell you that much. Ezekiel Jackson, I was excited when he became champion, when he broke away from the core, but as soon as he did that, he lost all of his personality and just became another big guy. And we know that the McMahons and the WWE in general have a hard-on for big guys. I mean, look at all the ones that have been big. Cena, obviously. Batista, obviously. Brock Lesnar, who came and went. Big Show, who's still lumbering on. Great Khali, Mike Knox, Heidenreich, Gene Snitsky. These big guys that are just there because they're big, rather than guys who can actually get shit done. I everything about Cody Rhodes and the direction that he's on right now. I don't know if it'll sustain believability forever, but I love what Cody Rhodes is doing right now. Not because his ego was taken away because his good looks were supposedly taken away, but with his ego being taken away, it got bigger, and the contradiction of that is kind of intriguing. Not to mention the fact that he thinks he's ugly, but he's going to make fun of everybody else for being ugly. He thinks he's been somehow ruined, but yet he can go and direct Ted DiBiase. All the contradictions within Cody Rhodes make him a stupendous heel. And if they scheduled Cody Rhodes to fight Randy Orton next for the world title, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't have a problem with him winning, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm a big fan of Christian, but that rivalry has run its course. I really, really hope and pray for the life of the WWE that they do not do something stupid, like putting the belt on Mark Henry. Yes, he's been impressive, but his time has passed in terms of making him a believable world champion. Pass it on to Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton would have stupendous matches, and that's the end of that. Cody Rhodes being the Intercontinental Championship right now. I think for him to aim at the world title so soon after winning the Intercontinental title, it demeans the Intercontinental Championship just a little bit, because it's kind of like he won it and said, well, fuck this one, I want the real one, which doesn't make the Intercontinental Championship look very good, but then the Intercontinental Championship hasn't looked very good in a number of years. It's just about this high above the Tag Team Championships right now, isn't it? Same thing can be said for the U.S. title, really. WWE has done shit all with their mid-card, other than building up Cody Rhodes and one or two other people. Who should return to the WWE? It's a hard question, only because it's like, who do I want to return because I would mark out, or who do I think would legitimately still be able to go in the WWE? Like, number one would be, if he could, for Edge to come back, but that's not feasible. Nobody's going to like this, but I'll say Jeff Hardy should come back, only because I hunger for Jeff Hardy when he was back in his heyday before all this bullshit went down. WWE as it is bringing in a lot of old people. Like, Bret Hart keeps coming back. Nash is back now, and I don't know how well he's going to do, considering, his legs were shot a long time ago. If you want to talk about who's gone to TNA that should come back to WWE, topping that list has got to be Kurt Angle. Because, let's face it, the most stupendous thing the WWE could have on a pay-per-view card would be either Kurt Angle versus Daniel Bryan or Kurt Angle versus CM Punk. So, I guess Kurt Angle's going to be my answer. As far as who's just gone and should come back, I really don't know, because I'm not one to sit here and say should. So that's Kurt Angle's the answer for that, after that long-ass ramble. Thank you, Tom, for those 3 questions. Guys, check out Kid of Wrestling and the KOW show. Both great, wonderful channels, and that's that. Next is from YFE Outlaw. What if Nash had been the Raw general manager who's pissed off that he has no power anymore? I would be upset only because I'm one of these people that watches both WWE and TNA, and hopefully I'll get into ROH eventually. And any smart wrestling fan knows that you can't be in TNA and the WWE at the same time. And when the Raw general manager bullshit started, when it was first announced by Vince McMahon, Kevin Nash was in TNA. So I think as a smarter wrestling fan, I guess, I would be personally offended by it. Storyline-wise, it would be great, because we do know that all the history there is between, like, Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Nash and X-Pac and Scott Hall and all those guys. So it would tie in, and it would be a big, tremendous, upheaval between old friends thing that could go great. But at the same time, all that would eventually do would be pull Triple H back into the ring, when currently they have him in a boss caricature or character. And don't get me wrong, I'd love to see Triple H back in the ring, but if his role right now is to play the boss and play the peacemaker, play the referee, play the COO, I don't think that persona would be done any good by coming back to face somebody like Kevin Nash. If the time comes when Triple H is going to go off and fight CM Punk or whatever, I will enjoy that for what it is, but I will have logical problems with it along those same lines. So yeah, I could definitely picture if WWE had gone that way and said that Nash had been the general manager the whole way. But with Triple H taking over, I think pretty much the general manager shtick has faded to the wayside. I mean, the question in the comment I've seen on most, not my videos, but the comment that I've seen on most other videos has been, what has the general manager gone on vacation since Triple H came here? And that's basically it. They're just going to ignore it, and hopefully eventually it'll go away. Thank you for that. The Squared Circle Show, who get a big congratulations from me because they just recently, in the past week, reached their 100 sub mark. Well done, well deserved, hardworking guys, great videos. Go and check out the Squared Circle Show. The question is simply, what is your favorite wrestling style, i.e., high-flying, technical, hardcore, showman, etc.? It's another interesting question. It depends what I'm looking for in the match, to be perfectly honest with you. Hardcore matches are always good for a laugh, and if they can pull off something completely new and different that I haven't seen, I'm very impressed, because I've seen a lot of hardcore matches. Technical matches are good the first time around, because a really, really good psychological technical match will draw you in from start to finish and make you want to know the result more and more and more. If you're talking about a match you can watch more than once, that's a high flyer match, or an X Division match, or a cruiserweight match, or whatever you want to call it, because those are fun more than once. Those are where you hit each little spot and you get to a certain spot in the match and you go ooh, and bop it back a couple seconds and watch it again and go ooh, and it's still got that factor. A technical match, the problem with that is, and I'm hoping I can say this in a way that doesn't make me sound like an idiot, but a technical match, you're drawn in and your curiosity is in there, because in a really good technical convincing match, you don't know who's going to win, and once you've seen it once to the end, you know who's going to win, and it takes out that draw when you watch that a second time. So I really don't know how to answer that other than to say that it depends what I'm looking for in a match. A really good match would be a combination of all of those things, like a Daniel Bryan or a CM Punk, or to a certain extent a Kurt Angle, who can combine all of those elements in high-flying, technical, hardcore. And you put showman in there as a type of wrestling style. I think regardless of your wrestling style, if you don't have any showmanship, whatever those other elements are that you're trying to portray aren't going to get out there. So there's my answer. A match that has all of those would be my favorite style of match. Other than that, it depends on what I'm looking for in that specific match or what I'm anticipating. Now, Heather, Nutty Rock Chick, went ahead and asked me a question that I could do a whole video on, and in fact have done a whole video on in the past. If you could make an ultimate group from any mix of companies in any mix of eras, picking one main event superstar, one tag team, one mid-carder, one diva, and one manager, who would you pick and why, and what would you call them? This is brutal. I did, when Kid of Wrestling did his Book Your Faction contest a while ago, he didn't put very many parameters on it, so I went all out. I had by the time I was done my submission for that contest, I had a faction that rivaled the old NWO in size alone. So Heather, bless your heart for giving me some parameters here. I saw this question and then I started thinking about it, and then I stopped myself from thinking about it, and I said, when I do the Q&A, I'm going to do whatever comes off the top of my head. So her parameters are one main event star, one tag team, one mid-carder, one diva, and one manager. Main eventer would be CM Punk. Mid-carder would be Daniel Bryan. Tag team would be Beer Money. Diva would be Lita. And the manager would be Shawn Michaels. That's what you get. And what would I call them? I have no fucking idea. I would probably call them something lame like The Future. or something like that, you know, because Immortal and Fortune are taken. I would probably, yeah, the future. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Beer Money, Lita, and Shawn Michaels. Oh, yes. And the last one from Joe Shy Guy 86. Thank you for that, Heather. That was a brutal question. Like I said, I could have gone on forever and ever and ever today. If you ask me that same question again tomorrow, I will probably give you a different group. I'm not gonna lie. Joe Shy Guy 86, last question for this first video. Do you think WWE will ever make John Cena a heel? On the business end, it's already been proven. WWE is way too scared shitless about their merchandise sales going down to make Cena go heel. That's point one. Point two, I think enough people are sick of John Cena now that if he went heel now, the ones that can't stand him wouldn't care, and the ones that need that superhero character on the show would turn away. So ultimately, I don't see how after waiting this long it could be any good. Except if they had turned Cena heel and made Cena sort of the corporate champ, sort of in Triple H's back pocket, and Cena had turned heel on CM Punk with everything that CM Punk has done currently, that would have solidified Punk as the new face of WWE. Bar none. Everybody's hatred for John Cena and the backlash of the Cena fans suddenly booing him and not even being able to believe that they were doing it would solidify CM Punk something fierce. That was when they should have, if they were going to do it at all, which I doubt they are at all, that's when they should have done it. Alright, this has been fun. This has been the first Q&A, and I'm pretty sure it was relatively painless. So like I said, guys, you guys want me to do another one? Comments down in the moderator box, or on this video, or on any other video, or in my inbox, or wherever you want to post them. Let me know what you think of this. I'm sure there's lots of people out there that disagree with me. Tell me that. I really don't care. I'd love to know what you guys think. Wow, I screwed up my finishing line, didn't I? Bad Spaz. I've been Spaz. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Let me know what you think. Start a conversation, and I will talk to all of you later. Thanks for everybody that tossed in a question. Bye.